Hey everyone, let's give them a couple more minutes to get started here. Try to use the control number to be able to ask questions. Right now that looks like that's unavailable. I'm going to try again right at 12:30 or once the meeting starts, and then I'll probably switch my screen share over to that meeting. And just FYI, I did see that there is rules in
The
regards
meeting
to
will
this
go
meeting
on air at
recording,
the
so this will
scheduled
be
time on the
streamed
meeting
and then
webpage.
deleted after the stream is over. So just wanted to make sure that you're all aware of that as well. I don't want to be in trouble for any kind of violations or anything of that nature. So give it a couple more minutes and we'll get started. Hopefully you all got a chance to see some of the PR that got put up today in terms of the solid-state batteries for the Class 1 EV cargo van. Looks like some promising results, so looking forward to some additional details there. Also, I noticed if you are a shareholder and you're able to log in using your control number, the request is that you ask one question at a time, or I'm sorry, one question per person. So I'll be asking the question in terms of how many vehicles, both Class 1 EV cargo vans and Class 3 trucks, have been sold to date and revenue realized for the fiscal year Q2. So I would encourage you all to go on, make sure you're logged in, use your control number, and get your question out there. If you are trying to come up with a list of questions, I did put some out there on the Twitter feed. So go to my profile there on Twitter. You can find a list of about 31, 32 different questions you can ask. I think it's good for all the shareholders to make sure that you're asking these questions. They're going to be reviewing those and prioritizing, I guess, based off of the number of people asking the same question as well as what they are allowed to publicly announce at this time.
The meeting will go on air at the scheduled time on the meeting webpage.
This will be a live stream only. You'll not get financial advice out of me. I want to make that very clear. Hopefully you guys all enjoy the meeting. Hopefully we get some news besides just going over these couple of proposals. I'm hoping that some of these questions and answers will help us get a little bit better understanding of what's going on in between these 8K filings and PRs that are released. Good morning, Kyle. How are you?
The meeting will go on air at the scheduled time on the meeting webpage.
And Blank Man, thank you for all of the engagement this morning. Hello, Mullen Investor. So once we get started, once the meeting does take place, I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic so you guys will have good, clear audio. And after the meeting adjourns, I might just provide any thoughts, any closing thoughts. I may read a couple comments and then go ahead and close down this stream. Jose. And we got Samuel Benjamin. I see you here in the chat as well. Jay Rizzle. SBX. How are you doing?
The meeting will go on air at the scheduled time on the meeting webpage.
Matt K. I see your excitement there in the chat as well. Greetings from Europe. Greetings from the US, Valentina. Looks like they're a little bit behind schedule here. Should have been a 12:30 takeoff. So give them a couple more minutes to get everything in order. Maybe they're doing their last minute mic checks. I know I would if I were them. Kev, how are you doing? Justin Harris, I hope everything is going to run smoothly today. It would be a nice check in the box, strikingly different type of shareholder meeting if that was to occur, and I'm all for that.
The meeting will go on air at the scheduled time on the meeting webpage.
So hopefully we have a space call later on tonight. For those of you who are on X, typically you'll see nightly space calls most of the time, whether it be a Fund Daddy space. Sometimes I'll host. You get some from Josh Castle, some from Sam I Am. He doesn't necessarily post too many Mullen spaces nowadays, but maybe he'll pick those back up. Maybe Cha-Cha as well. So interesting night. I'll definitely be looking for a space. If I get an opportunity, I will try to jump on a space call myself or host. It's Sparrows. I see you in the comments. I appreciate your videos that you share with your travels over there at the Tunica plant. And I agree, hopefully no audio issues today. Brent, I don't know if we're going to see David's skinny jeans today. It could be audio only or maybe from the chest up. If you do want to see what kind of pants he's wearing, you could always use your one question to ask. But I don't know if they'll prioritize that one, buddy. Hello from Birmingham, Alabama.
The meeting will go on air at the scheduled time on the meeting webpage.
Matt K, you are right. In terms of the PR, looks like from their initial testing, they did a 10-mile run at various speeds, and they were able to justify a range. They were able to extrapolate that data and come up with a range greater than 200 miles per charge using that new solid-state technology. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly they can get that integrated into their production line. They're already into the 2024 models. I know that their new model for 2025 will be coming out in July. So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to make that shift in time for that new model trim. Now this is trade. From what I understand, you have to submit the questions live. I tried to put in my control number. I was unable to log in using the control number, so I had to log in as guest. Once the meeting does kick off, I'm going to go ahead and try to log in using control number to see what happens.
The The meeting will go on air at the scheduled time on the meeting webpage.
Let's see. Wait for a sec. Looks like SPX asking about RRDS news. Haven't heard anything. The last PR that Mullen put out stated that it was a kind of first in, first out review process with the government, and that now that everything's submitted, they were looking for a 1 to 2 month review. In my opinion, I think one thing that's going to help with the review is going to be getting those 2-seaters out to market, just to have an additional vehicle available for the government. And I think this new solid-state battery information, I think that could also help as well with some additional range. So we'll have to see. I know that they are trying to increase the percent of the vehicle manufacturing so that they can have that made in America tag. We'll see how the battery pack manufacturing goes in the months to come. Hopefully that can get them over that 50% mark. It's Farrells, that would be interesting to know if they are able to do a quick change with their initial battery packs for the solid state. I would assume that would be for
the meeting will go on air at the scheduled time on the meeting webpage.
For that additional upgrade, they'd be able to do that. But with all the battery packs already at the facility, I'm not quite sure. I know that a large portion of those battery packs we saw coming in from the imports were part of the Class 3 trucks. Those, from my calculation, I believe those take about 8 battery packs per truck. And that case says that the battery packs are in the same enclosure. Looks like the meeting
Good morning
started.
And welcome to the 2024 annual meeting of stockholders of Mullen Automotive Incorporated. I now introduce the Chief Executive Officer of the company, David Mishry. David?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to for inspection by any stockholder during
Sorry
that
about
time.
the sound, guys.
We'll begin the meeting by proving the presence of a quorum, then proceed with the presentation of the proposals before the meeting today, followed by a report of the preliminary results of the voting. I now declare the polls open. If you wish to vote, the polls will stay open until I finish presenting all proposals. If you have already voted by proxy, it is not necessary to vote again. We'll answer questions reporting the preliminary voting results. To ask a question, you must be a stockholder of record as of January 12, 2020, or hold a legal proxy and may log into the meeting site by entering the control numbers you received with your notice of internet availability for proxy materials or proxy card if you request a paper copy. Please refer to the rules of conduct at our meeting website if you wish to vote or ask questions today. Henry Farrell of Continental Stock Transfer has been appointed to act as Inspector of Elections for this meeting and any adjournments thereof, and has taken his oath to faithfully execute his duties as Inspector. Henry, please present the Inspector's report.
Thank you. I present for the record an affidavit of mailing executed by Continental Stock Transfer affirming that notice of this meeting was duly given and that a notice regarding the availability of proxy materials for the 2024 annual meeting of stockholders was furnished on or about January 19th, 2024 to stockholders of record as of the record date. The proxy materials available for review at the internet site given in such notice include the company's 2023 annual report on Form 10-K, annual meeting proxy statement, and proxy card. The official list of stockholders of the company as of the close of business on January 12th, 2024, the record date for this meeting, has been certified by Continental Stock Transfer and is open for inspection during this meeting. As of the record date, outstanding shares entitled to vote at this meeting total 5,884,693 shares of common stock, 648 shares of Series A preferred stock, and 1,211,757 shares of Series C preferred stock. No shares of Series B preferred stock are outstanding. Holders of Series D preferred stock are not entitled to vote today. Holders of common stock are entitled to vote one vote for each share of common stock held as of the record date. Holders of Series A preferred stock are entitled to 1,000 votes for each share of Series A preferred stock held of record on the record date and vote with the common stock. Holders of Series C preferred stock are entitled to one vote for each share of common stock into which Series C preferred stock may be converted on the record date, as each holder thereof is entitled to vote with the common stock and such as converted to common stock basis. Stockholders who return proxies authorize each of the persons named therein to vote on the proposals before the meeting. The presence in person or by proxy of record of at least 33 1/3% of the voting power of the company's outstanding common stock entitled to vote at this meeting constitutes a quorum for the transaction of business. Present in person or represented by proxy at this meeting is more than 33 1/3% of the company's outstanding capital stock. Accordingly, on behalf of the Board of Directors, I declare a quorum present for consideration of all proposals. This meeting is lawfully convened and may proceed with the transaction of business properly before it. I will provide an exact count of stockholders present or represented in this meeting, in person or by proxy, and will submit a formal report in the certificate that I will deliver after this meeting.
Thank you, Henry. The Inspector's Oath of Office, certified list of stockholders, and affidavit of mailing will be filed with the minutes of this meeting. We will now proceed to transact the business of which this meeting has been called. Properly submitted proposals are listed on the agenda and in the proxy materials previously distributed to you. Most stockholders voted on the internet, by telephone, or by mail. If you have previously voted and do not wish to change your vote, it is not necessary to vote today. Those of you who hold your shares in your own name as a record holder and have not yet voted or wish to vote your shares differently than you previously indicated may do so while I present the proposals. Those of you who hold your shares in the name of a third party, such as a broker, must have previously provided a legal proxy form, the named stockholder to Continental Stock if you wish to vote your shares today. The first proposal before our stockholders is the election of 2 Class 3 directors to serve for a 3-year term ending as of our annual meeting in 2027, and until their successors are duly elected and qualified. Upon the recommendations of the Nominating and Governance Committee, the board has nominated each of William Miltner and John Anderson for election to the board as Class 3 directors. Directors are elected by a plurality of all our votes present in person are represented by proxy and entitled to vote at today's meeting. Our board of directors recommended a vote for the election of each nominee for Class 3 director. Proposal 2, before the stockholders ratification of the appointment of RBSN LLP as the company's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024. This proposal requires the affirmation vote of a majority of the voting power of the outstanding shares of our common stock our Series A preferred stock, and our Series C preferred stock, voting on an as-converted basis to common stock basis. Presents in person are represented by proxy at this meeting and entitled to vote thereon. All voting together as a single class, our board recommended that the stockholders ratify such appointment. Proposal 3 is adjournment of the meeting if necessary, if there are insufficient votes for or otherwise in connection with the approval of one or more proposals or to establish a quorum. Because we have a quorum and have received sufficient votes for approval of the foregoing proposals, we are not presenting the adjournment proposal today. This concludes presentation of the proposals on the agenda. If anyone is still voting, please finish now. All shares of capital stock of Mullen Automotive, Inc. that are represented at this annual meeting of stockholders by one or more proxies are hereby voted in accordance with the instructions that appear on such proxy regarding all proposals on the corporation's proxy card. If no instruction was provided on a proxy granted to the proxy holder, and or to the extent the proxy holder have discretionary authority to vote such proxy, the shares represented by such proxy are hereby voted in favor of all proposals. I hereby declare the polls closed for each matter voted upon at this meeting. Will the Inspector of Elections report the preliminary results of the voting?
According to the preliminary results, Proposal 1, each of William Miltner and John Anderson has been duly elected to the Board of Directors to a 3-year term expiring on the date of the annual meeting in 2027. Proposal 2, the appointment of RBSM LLP as the company's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024, has been ratified by the affirmative vote of a majority of the voting power of the outstanding shares of common stock, Series A preferred stock, and Series C preferred stock, voting as converted to common stock basis, present in person or represented by proxy at this meeting, and entitled to vote thereon, voting together as a single class. I will prepare a certificate of my final tabulation for filing with the proxies, ballots, and my final report of the minutes of this meeting.
Thank you, Henry. This concludes the formal business of the meeting, and on behalf of the Board of Directors, I now declare the formal meeting adjourned. Because we have not we will now turn to the general questions and answer portion of our meeting. Before we begin, let me remind everyone that any comments regarding management's beliefs, expectations, and plans for the future are forward-looking statements, and actual results may differ materially. You should refer to our forward-looking statement disclaimer in the agenda for today's meeting and our filings with the SEC, such as our 2023 annual report on Form 10-K, for factors that could cause actual results to differ from any forward-looking statement. I want to thank you for the many questions submitted online. Our Chief Financial Officer, Jonathan Yu, and I will answer as many appropriate stockholders' questions as possible. We will try to cover as many as we can over the next 15 minutes. We will not address questions that are irrelevant to the business of the company, are speculative, require a discussion of matters viewed by the company as confidential, relate to litigation, personal grievances, references to individuals, or otherwise disrespectful, or not of interest to the stockholders generally. Out of consideration for others, please limit yourself to one question. Please give us a moment while we review the questions that have been submitted.
All right, let's see if there's actually any questions in there or not. I'm gonna try one more time to log in with my control number. Nada.
All right, we're going to start the Q&A session. First question, how many shares are issued and outstanding?
Good question.
As of today's date, there's 6 million, as of 2/9, our last reported Q, there's 6,552,470 shares. Again, as of 2/9/2024. Next question. Why has the company not recognized any revenue given press releases or amounts invoiced? It's a good question. I'm going to defer that question to our Chief Financial Officer, Jonathan Yu, who's present. John, please, by all means.
Thank you, David. So why have we not recognized any revenues given the press releases on amounts invoiced? So through January 31st, we invoiced $17.3 million worth of vehicles delivered, and we recognized only $366,000 in revenues from the sale of these vehicles. There's an additional $16.9 million of potential revenues to be recognized, and they will be recognized upon dealer delivering vehicles to end user and dealer payment on any open receivables relating to these vehicles is received, and at that point the dealer's return provision expires and we will recognize revenue.
Thank you, John. As we look through the questions here, next question. Can you give an update on the status of the battery manufacturing? Okay. Today, we released a press release announcing that we started drivable testing on our solid-state polymer pack. That took place on February 26th. The results can be viewed via video on our webpage or the link attached to the PR. To elaborate as far as battery pack manufacturing, the facility in Fullerton is staging itself now for pack production. We've scaled the lines to enable us to operate multiple configurations of systems. One is a Legence, the other is an Hermes system, and both of which are in the process of being prepped for becoming operational. We've ran tests and we've provided those tests via social media to our shareholders. As we scale, we're looking at multiple configurations incorporating current chemistry being utilized, which is our lithium iron phosphate chemistry, with new advanced chemistries that we will scale for, which is our solid state polymer that we're currently testing. So in our Fullerton facility, we are working with current chemistry and projecting and scaling for new advanced chemistries to expand our ability to deliver product at scale and at advanced chemistries, meaning solid state polymer. Hope that helps. Next question. What is the current liquidity of the company and plans for any capital raises? So we'll break this up into two parts. I'll answer the first half of it, and Jonathan, you will answer the second half. We are currently in the process of extinguishing whatever remaining warrants are issued as of 2/9 and reported in our February 9th 10Q. And as it relates to the company's liquidity, Jonathan Yu, our Chief Financial Officer, will comment on that.
Thank you, David. We continue to evaluate strategies to obtain additional funding for future operations. And when those are finalized, we'll announce the terms of any additional funding. In terms of liquidity, we reported in our last quarterly report at December 31st, working capital of $47.1 million. And that included cash on hand of $88.9 million. If you want to talk about the spend of the company, you should refer to the cash flow statement, the most current in December, and you can see operating and investing cash flows totaled $66.8 million for the 3 months ended December 31st, 2023. David?
Thank you, John. Last question. What are the company's plans as it relates to its commercial line of product? I guess the way we're going to answer that is the company previously released a PR stating that our focus is the commercial sector, and that's currently where the company is heading, both Class 1 and Class 3, as well as Bollinger's Class 4 through Class 6. We plan on making that our emphasis, and we're excited about that. Concludes today's questions and answer period. Thank you for attending.
The meeting will go on air at the scheduled time on the meeting webpage.
All right, so for those of you that are still here, it looks like all of the information that was provided in the Q&A was as of the last of their PR statements or filings. Nothing as of 2/29, so that's a little unfortunate. The only positive news is that after this meeting, Mullen will be fully compliant. So we'll have to see how the market reacts to that. Again, thank you all for joining. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you on the next stream or in the next space call. Let's see. A couple people asking in the chat about the buyback. Looks like that was not covered. So it'd be interesting to find out if that's going to be put out in any future PRs based on their cash on hand. In my opinion, all that needs to go towards operations. As far as the buyback, typically companies do that when they have an excess amount of revenue, and they want to be able to kind of put that back into the market by buying those shares back. So, all right. You guys have a great rest of the day. I'll talk to you all later.